Hi friends, it's Auntie Cuckoo here, and today I'm bringing you a Sea of Thieves pirate ship birthday cake DIY. Let's get started. The first thing you'll need are any 2 boxed cake mixes, and just go ahead and prepare them according to the instructions. My son requested yellow cake, and that's what I gave him. So I did go ahead and pre-bake these the night before I decided to put the ship together, and I would recommend doing that or letting them cool off for a long while. So here are some things I used to make the base for my cake. So I just picked up some blue wrapping paper at Dollar Tree, decided where I wanted to place it on my base, and I used a little parchment paper to protect the base when we are going to frost our cake. So as you can see, I'm just trying to work out the shape of the ship. Now this is not my first rodeo, and I have made a pirate ship birthday cake before, but it was a long while ago. So last time I used round cake pans, and our ship actually ended up wrecking. It split right down the middle, right after we blew out the birthday candles. So this time I decided to go with a flatter design. And what I'm going to do is just carve out the shape of the bottom of a ship and stack the layers. So after you have your first ship layer cut out, you can go ahead and use that piece as your template to cut out your second piece. Now, both of these cake mixes were identical, but they did not turn out the same. As you can see, the bottom layer totally crumbled on me. I can suggest freezing your cakes before you work with them, just to make them a little bit more solid and easier to work with. Should have heeded my own advice. So I do have one layer of chocolate frosting, just store-bought canned frosting, nothing fancy, and I'm using a couple of toothpicks to go ahead and secure the ship base together. Now I'm going to go ahead and start working on frosting. Remember to just take your time and go slow so that you don't have any frustrations or mishaps. Now I have busted open my second can of frosting, and if I'm being honest, I could probably have used another 1/2 for a total of 2.5 cans of frosting for a cake that would probably serve around 12. The backside of my ship did start to crumble. As I mentioned before, the cakes turned out quite different from each other, but a little bit of frosting can fix everything. Once I finished frosting the base layer, I popped it into the freezer for a few minutes while we work on the sails of our pirate ship. So you're just going to need a few things. I used some scissors, a marker, a hole punch, some paper, which was cardstock, and a few skewers from the kitchen. I'm just drawing out a few shapes of different sized sails, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut them out. Now, if you wanted to get really fancy, you could use some different printed papers, some cardstock with different shapes or patterns on it, and that would look really nice. For this one, I'm just using white cardstock, and I did decide to go ahead and add stripes to one of my sails, just using my marker. Once you have your sails all cut out, you can go ahead and give them a little punch at the top and bottom and fit them onto your skewers. Now I decided to go ahead and add a skeleton to one of my sails, and I ended up redoing this one. I did decide that a black skull and crossbones would look better on the white paper, but you get the idea. Once you have your sails all decorated, and your holes punched, you can go ahead and assemble them onto your skewers. Now, another change of plan, I actually decided to go ahead and make a little flag using the paper I had on hand for the very top of one of my sails. Now I'm going to pull my cake out of the freezer and use a piece of the scrap sheet cake to make the stern on the back of the ship. I went ahead and used one of my extra skewers, cut it down to secure it to the back of the cake. Now I'm not going to lie, frosting this part was a little tricky and messy. It would have gone a lot more smoothly if I had frozen that little piece for the stern. But we got it all frosted, and now it's time to go ahead and use a knife to slowly scoot out the parchment paper. And your base will be clean, you won't have any frosting on it. Now it's time to decorate. I picked up a few different treats from the Dollar Tree, including these yogurt covered pretzels to kind of look like waves at the bottom of the ship. Now I also picked up some different flavored licorice from the Dollar Tree, some Rolos, and some Whoppers. I had found this little ship at a thrift store and thought I could use it on top of my cake for some reason, but instead it just ended up holding all of the leftover treats that didn't get used on the ship. So I used the licorice in the Dr. Pepper flavor to go ahead and line the sides of the ship. Now it can get a little tricky once you go around the back of the ship, so you might want to just play with your licorice, bend it a little bit, and I used toothpicks to go ahead and secure it. Then I decided to use some more licorice to create the look of stairs leading up the stern. I just used my scissors to cut off the excess. Then I went ahead and used a little bit more licorice to outline the back of the stern, securing it with toothpicks. And now for what I consider the really fun part, all the little decorations. So I'm just playing with my masts and seeing where I like them. I actually ended up flipping them around, as you can see. And I'm using my Whoppers to look like cannonballs. So I grouped them in a set of 3, taking a 4th one and adding a toothpick to make it a secure pile. I'm using the Rolos to create the look of treasure and doing the same technique, putting 3 together in a grouping and using a toothpick in the 4th to stack it on top. Now to prepare our ship for battle, we're going to need cannons. So I picked up these cookies at the Dollar Tree. I broke them down into smaller pieces in order to push them right in on both sides of the ship. And that's all there is to it. It took me about 2 hours, and it was well worth it. It's all my son asked for his birthday. So I did pick up these little pirate figurines on Amazon. I checked in all my big box stores and party supply stores, and they did not have any little pirate figures. So I ended up finding these for a very reasonable price on Amazon. But hey, if you have little kids in the home and they have some pirate figurines, even better. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the process of making this Sea of Thieves pirate ship themed birthday cake DIY. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon in the next video.